They're skidding. They're skidding to the All Star break. The Dodgers are in enormous trouble right now with their pitching staff. They have 16 pitchers on the disabled list. And here they are. They thought a couple were about to turn the corner. Walker Buehler is not making progress at Camelback Ranch in Arizona. He, of course, is on the disabled list. The hip injury is gone. They're trying to work on mechanics, trying to get his velocity back. That has not worked. Dustin May was about to progress to bullpen sessions at Camelback Ranch, rushed to a hospital over the weekend, surgery on his esophagus, a torn esophagus, suffered while he was eating dinner, and was taken to a hospital. No physical activity for the next 2 months. He's done for the rest of the season. Won't be back till next spring training as he tries to ramp up from 2 elbow surgeries. The only piece of good news, Clayton Kershaw, first rehab start, Oklahoma City, John. 3 innings, no hits, 5 strikeouts, no problems the next 2 days after the start where you throw a light bullpen. So far, so good. Kershaw's going to make another rehab start at Oklahoma City in the Pacific Coast League this coming Friday. And if that goes with no setbacks, maybe coming out of the All-Star break, he rejoins the rotation. They are in terrible trouble with their pitching staff, which also then leads you to the next statement. Are they going to make a deal? Are they going to go get a pitcher? The Padres, to me, it's weird. The Padres have 5 All-Stars. And the Padres are a 500 baseball team.
No, it's crazy.
And the Padres are kind of on the brink, holding on to the last rung of the ladder, not trying to fall off in terms of the wild card chase. They win games, play surprisingly exciting baseball, and then they lose series. There is no answer. They're 50-49. And the other thing is they played a lot more games than virtually everybody else in baseball. Everybody's got games in hand on them. The All-Star break comes at the right time for them. Machado needs to get rested. This pitching staff needs to take a deep breath. Luis Ariz has got the issue with the thumb problem. He's pulled himself out of the All-Star game. Fernando Tatis is going to have another MRI. The pain where the stress fracture was in the thigh bone has gone away, but he's not doing any baseball-related activities. In fact, he's yet to be allowed to run. So this is still a long process there. So I mean, the Dodgers are in just huge trouble. And I don't know how the Padres are going to find other players to add to the roster right now because they're in just a real tight fit. And we have not talked about Musgrove, who's only throwing off the front of the mound, is only throwing some fastballs and bullpen sessions, has thrown no of the hard breaking stuff, which led first to the shoulder problem, then the elbow problem. And, of course, Darvish reportedly is in Japan because of a family illness situation. We don't know when he's coming back. I assume he's working out on his own because that's the kind of guy he is. But they desperately need starting pitching at this point in time. So, John, here's the magic wand. Sprinkle some dust, solve the Dodger problems and the Padre problems.
Well, it's nice to hear Clayton Kershaw is looking good. I mean, how old is he, by the way?
36 plus, old man on his arm, he says.
Yeah, so, he's coming back. That's some hope for the Dodgers. But this Dustin May injury is weird. I mean, I've never heard of a torn esophagus. I mean, I remember when George H.W. Bush choked on a pretzel in Japan, but I've never heard of a torn esophagus. Yeah. Have you?
No, it was just absolutely strange. And he got sick at dinner and felt horrible. He called the Dodger staff. They brought him in. They did whatever they did in terms of examination extras. They put him right into surgery.
Well, it was maybe like a bone or something that like scraped the inside of the throat.
Something tore tissue in the esophagus, yes.
That's crazy. I mean, especially bad luck, with the Dustin May injury.
The kid can't get away from the black cloud.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, yeah, the Dodgers are going to make a deal, but are we still only talking about Quantrill and Eflin? I mean, are there other big names that are kind of coming up?
At this point, no. But again, we're 2 weeks out from the trade deadline, and maybe somebody else will get into seller mode. The problem is there's so many teams in baseball that are right around the 500 level, damn Padres included.
Yes.
That there's a lot of teams that say, well, I'm not going to blow this sucker up. I'm going to try to stay the course, and maybe I'll rent a pitcher that might push me into postseason play. So, but the names that we have talked about in the last 10 days, the Cal Quantrills of Colorado, who I really like, Zach Eflin of Tampa Bay, the Mets, whatever they're going to do with Quintana or Sean Manaea, those are guys you can probably get at affordable prices. But from the Padres' perspective, everybody they talk to wants one of the young guys in the farm system. Unless the Padres do a U-turn and change their mind and say, okay, we're going to get quality and we're going to give you Hassan Kim, or we're going to get quality and we'll give you the young catcher Luis Campusano because they got another catcher deep in the farm system. But we're not giving you Ethan Salas. We're not giving you Leo DeVries. And we're just going to go the course with the two number one picks that are struggling in the minors right now in Rob Snelling and Dylan Lasco. And I think that mandate comes from above AJ Preller. So we spin back to what we talked about last week. Would you trade Hassan Kim because he is a walk free agent at the end of the year? But I only trade him if I'm getting a really quality starter. I happen to think Quantrill has evolved into a very trustworthy starting pitcher. I might do that, but I wouldn't deal him for Sean Manaea. I wouldn't deal him for Jose Quintana. The New York Mets, terrible. So that's where we are. And the other problem is if there's somebody really good out there, the guys up the road who've got assets to trade and can take on salary, aka the Dodgers, you're going to have to compete against those guys off the field at the trade table at the deadline, in addition to having to beat them on the field.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's crazy. And it's some of those guys, why would we give up a lot to get a Cal Quantrill? I mean,
he's got 2 years left of ownership.
But still, he's kind of like a number 4 type of starter. He's, and you could get him and he can go south on you pretty easily.
I don't know, pal. Yeah, he's got a 3.01 ERA at Coors Field.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, you see, dummy.
Well,
read my website. You would know this stuff.
You would know.
But that he, of those guys out there that I just mentioned, he's probably the most trustworthy. And you control him for 2 more years.
True.
And you know him. And you got Ruben Niebla, who I think is a very good pitching coach who can further refine the guy. Maybe that's the guy you go get. Of course, doing so, AJ Preller has to admit he made a mistake by trading a guy away in the Cleveland package to begin with, which there's nobody left from the Cleveland package, and he gave up Quantrill and Josh Naylor, who's in the All-Star game.
Right.
So
there were 10 former Padres in the All-Star game, according to Kevin Acey's article this morning. And so I'd imagine these other teams are saying, well, hell yeah, Preller is willing to deal his top prospects. I'm going to get me some.
I don't think the ownership will let him deal top prospect. I'll be stunned if a week from now or July 31st that he has been allowed to trade Salas or DeVries, who are the blue chips, but they're way down the road. By the way, sidebar note, the baseball free agent draft, the college, high school kids, that's going on right now. I really like the 2 Padre picks. The Padres drafted 25 and then they drafted 55, and they drafted really well. They got a 6'4" high school pitcher from Oklahoma who's vibrant. He's 94. I looked at him and it was like I was watching Cole Hamels on video.
Really?
Very impressive. And then the second round, they drafted a 6'8" kid, Texas, Louisiana, 6'8" pitcher, who I was very impressed with too, who's got, I think, great upside. Now, they're going to have to pay money, significant of their signing pool, to keep these kids from going to Oklahoma State or going to Louisville. But I think both those kids have already told them, we want to sign. So what they did with picks 1 and 2. Now that's exciting for 30 seconds. The reality is these guys are going to Class A ball or the Arizona Summer League. I mean, they are years away, but these are vibrant, big, hard-throwing high school pitchers. So I was pretty impressed with what the Friars did.
Well, it's kind of a roll of the dice, right? You just try to amass big arms with big talent and hope some of them can make it all the way without getting hurt.
Or some of them can make it here and not have Preller trade them.
Yeah, that too.
The other stat, I went back over the weekend, I wrote about it, just shocking. Of the 8 first-round picks that Preller has had since he became general manager 2015, he's traded 6 of the 8 number ones to other teams, and those guys are playing pretty well other places.
But it's when the Padres, go back to Josh Naylor for a minute, who we said was an all-star. Traded him away, but he didn't fit anywhere in San Diego, right? He couldn't play outfield. We didn't have the DH then. But yeah, he's legit. But he's traded away. What, Trey Turner? Who are some of the other number ones?
Oh my God. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's a volume of name players who've gone other places and had success.
Well, think about previous Padre history of all the number one draft picks that Towers and some of his predecessors picked that never even panned out, that never even made it to the major leagues. So I like the fact that Preller is aggressive and flexible and trying to turn, essentially straw into gold like Rumpelstiltskin. But, sometimes the deals don't work out.
A lot of times deals don't work out. And the fact you go look at the baseball box scores, there's a lot of ex-Padres, lots of places doing pretty well, other places. And all that, all the picks he's had, and all the free agents he signed, and all the money he spent. And the Padres are 50-49 and not even a wild card team at the All Star break.
Yeah, that's insane. Insane.
So we have to talk about the negatives along with the positives. So that's the storyline with Padre and Dodger baseball. Feel free, if you're a Padre fan, if you're a Dodger fan, geez, join us in the chat box and fans forum.